once again to Synergy Bonus.
There
we go. Okay. This evening we are coming to you talking about an N64 game, something we haven't done yet, don't do regularly all that much.
We haven't done.
N64 didn't have an expansive library, really.
No, but what it had was good. What are we
lost
drinking
a lot of
tonight?
its games to the
Tonight we have Left Hand Brewing Company's Milk Stout Nitro.
It's not too bad.
It's a nitro. Tasty. It's tasty. It has that nice cool feel. Do not let it warm up.
No.
It's a stout. You don't drink it warm.
No. Actually, this says to pour hard and admire and enjoy. Drink at 50 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit, or 55 degrees Fahrenheit in a stout glass.
Room temperature, basically.
Yeah. Anyways.
Except for room temperature right now is 70.
This is true.
But I'd say summer will be over soon enough, but
it hasn't actually started.
Exactly.
I like comfortable weather. Anyways.
This is not comfortable weather. It's hot and sticky and sweaty.
It's not hot and sticky. Okay.
We haven't gotten actual summer yet, so right now it's just a really hot spring.
Anyways, we are talking about an N64 game today.
Quest 64. Or if you're from Europe, Holy Magic Century. And if you're from Japan, L-Tail Monsters.
Or, if you have any taste, a shitty game.
I would love to see this say Holy Magic Century on it. Not gonna lie, that would make my day. Anyways, who puts this out?
This was released, it was developed by Imagineer and published by THQ on June 1st of 1998.
I've never really been a huge fan of THQ.
Mm-hmm.
Most of their good stuff was PlayStation 2 stuff.
Notable, it's the first N64 RPG.
Yeah, one of the very few.
Besides Tactics Ogre, Person of Lordly Caliber. Or no, it's Ogre Battle, Person of Lordly Caliber.
And then Paper Mario and
Aiden Chronicles, Slay the First Mage. Yeah, but this is the first one for the N64.
Yeah, that's true. THQ, the only games I really enjoyed from them were actually like the WWF games, like No Mercy and stuff back in the day. They were really good. Anyways,
I want to go and say that there's Summoner, and didn't they do Red Faction?
I think
maybe
we'll look it up.
Anyways, so Quest was one of the few N64 games that required one of these, a memory card. And if you were lucky enough to get an actual Nintendo memory card, you were set.
If you get a third-party card,
you were fucked.
As with most Nintendo products.
Yep.
I was fucked pretty hard because I could not find official ones. They just weren't around here. Really? So they weren't. So I ended up getting
low demand.
Getting a Performance
I
Interact
had one because
cards.
It came with Majora's Mask.
Performance Interact card, and I'm going to tell you, Interact Performance is one of the shittiest companies ever. This thing would delete data quite regularly, actually, and to this day, it's a very hit or miss that it'll work. Battery life not existent. If I'm going to be playing any N64 game nowadays with like a memory card like this, I will go to our local game store that's not GameStop and buy one of their...
This is where we plug Gamers Haven.
Memory cards.
That was your only plug you're getting.
Only one. That's it.
Be happy.
And, I mean, they work for the most part. You can finish a game without it erasing, but the next time you load it up, it's gone. I mean... It's one of the downfalls with the N64 memory card, which is it's a shame.
One of the many downfalls with the N64 in general.
However, if you were actually on a game that could just save straight to the cartridge, you were good.
Unfortunately, one of my favorite games on the N64 was Mystical Ninja 64, and it required one of these cards. So
there was two.
There's Mystical Ninja starring Goemon, and then there was the second one, which I had never played. But
the platforming more one.
But it
Tyler
has
had
dancing ogres when you die.
Yeah, because you go to hell. I used to taunt Tyler with that game. It's like, die, so you can look at the ogres.
So anyways, Quest. Quest is it's something.
It's a very stripped down RPG. It doesn't have a lot of things like there's no money in this game at all. Everything.
Wait, what?
There's no money in the game. You're either given items, they drop from monsters, or you find them in treasure chests. There's no money option.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you real quick here. Like, you stop me.
Another reason why I didn't like this game.
So you didn't have to grind for coins. Oh no!
I actually don't remember the no money thing. I have a lot of problems with this game. Like, I really do. And the no money thing, that just added to the tier of problems. I think I'm going to be siding with Greg a little bit on
I
this.
figured. Yeah.
I mean,
If you want an introduction to RPGs and you like cast or characters, here you go.
It's very strict.
Like-
It's a great introductory game, assuming you're somebody who's never played an RPG before. It's very simple. It's very straightforward. There's a lot of
It's an alternative to Final Fantasy Mystic Quest.
There's a lot of, go talk to the king. Okay, somebody has stolen local elemental unique item and has run off to the forest. Go clear the forest so that you can get to the next town. But it's very straightforward. It's very linear. You're not going to be running around exploring too much trying to find items or the spirits that let you power up your magic spells, because you play as this little guy, Brian, who's a spirit tamer. Which is a nice way of saying he's a mage.
I've never finished this game basically because of this crap right here for the most part, and the fact that it's not a good game. It's a very colorful game, actually.
It's a very pretty game. It kind of pushed the limits of what the N64 could do.
When you're in the castle at the very start and you walk out, it's like you got the blues and the greens and just everything was there. Even the horse. I'm like, I can ride a horse. No, fuck you.
Nope, you can't ride a horse. And no jumping in this game. Brian doesn't jump.
No jumping. Even Brian's polygonal model is really well done.
Moose Smoothie ice skates a little.
A little bit. And then it just kind of starts to...
He said he didn't beat it. You get to the final, and it's still bright and colorful. Like, you're running up the hillside to the final boss, and he's this giant purple monster. You've got the forest where you've got... it's like stage 4 or 5. It's the forest, then you get to the end. And it's this tunnel of these giant vines that are choking the forest path, and you have to run along the vines in this bright, vibrant green, and it's all very nice to look at.
I actually bought this... I mean, I played it when it first came out, but I bought this here maybe 2 years ago because I wanted to give it a fair shot and get through it, and it still hasn't happened. It's like pulling teeth to me, unfortunately. As Greg touched on, and I think both Greg and Trav touched on, is Brian is a mage, and that's it.
Spirit tamer.
He's a mage.
He's a mage. Or a
You only...
He's a conduit of the elemental forces.
He is that.
He's your only character that you get to play. His physical attacks suck because he is a mage.
Yeah. Kind of bop people with the staff for 1 hit point, if that.
And it's.
But if you stand back and launch fireballs, you nuke the hell out of stuff. So it's about running around, dodging, strafing, and shooting stuff.
Why don't you explain the magic system? Because he is an elemental tamer and whatnot. And
the Lord Ryan thing is he's an
putting points into
He's
places.
an apprentice spirit tamer, and as you run around, this is the exploration part of this game. You'll periodically see these little white puffs coming up from the ground or from a corner or down an alleyway or whatever. These are spirits that you find, and as you collect them, you assign them to the 4 different major elements: earth, fire, wind, water. And
If you're gonna
go planet!
If you're gonna go with actual magic, you'd also have soul or self.
Nah, again, limited. It's very stripped down Watertown, and it's not Japanese inspired. This is an American game. It's actually set.
That was actually Western art.
Okay, well, it's set in a fictional. It's called Celtland, but it's very much Ireland. And you assign the spirits that you find and pick up and capture or tame, spirit tamer, to one of these cardinal elements, and as you put more points into each element, you get new and different powers and attacks. Sometimes it's just a powered up thing like, okay, now I can throw a bigger boulder at you as a stone mage, or I make a bigger fireball. Sometimes you get a different effect, like, oh, now I have a wall of stone spikes that come up, or I have a slashing wind blade that comes at you. Or
that stuff's kind of cool.
Yeah,
I like that.
Get some heal spells and stuff mixed in there too. Another thing that this game doesn't have that probably annoyed the hell out of Doug, there's no experience points.
There's no experience points. There's no party. There's
no purpose to actually get in random battles.
No
for the
weapons.
most part.
Well,
there is a purpose. There is a purpose to get into random battles.
Wait, if you use your abilities more often, don't they level up? Is that what it is?
You level up based on how you perform in battle. If you take a lot of hits, your defense and hit points go up.
Oh, it's the FF2 style.
Yep.
Play.
If you run around and
The
strafe a lot
Elder
like I do, your
Scrolls
speed
style.
goes up. If you cast a lot, you get more intelligence and mana.
Oh, that's the other thing.
You
with
can,
this.
in fact, hit people with the stick through the whole game.
And get to the point where you can just kill people with a stick.
Get to the point where you can kill stuff in the first area with the stick.
Don't use the stick.
Don't use the stick. He's a mage.
Another thing, like this is a turn-based RPG, except
Not really. It kind
It's
of
got an active
dances,
battle system, and you can move around the map.
It dances back and
It's
forth
got-
between active combat.
Like,
and,
you
it's
can
got a
run-
ring that you can walk around.
yes, you can walk around in the ring, and it does.
Can
take
you avoid attacks?
Yep.
Just don't be where the guy is.
Most
So it's
most
almost
of-
like Parasite Eve's
Yeah.
battle
Yeah.
system.
Most of the enemies in this game telegraph their moves pretty good. It actually reminds me a lot of Aiden Chronicles, although Aiden Chronicles did it a lot better, and you have different classes that can do different things. But yeah, this little ring pops up, your magical fence that you're trapped in, and you run around and find every enemy in the game has an elemental weakness, naturally, and you find the correct element and you wail on them with it until they drop. And drop items because there's no money.
I wish. I mean, if someone's weak to earth, your stick should count. It's wood.
I just thought it was nice that Earth wasn't the default healing element for a change.
What? Wind?
Normally, water would be.
Water.
Water.
Water had two ways of going at it. You could do ice attacks that did some damage, but it really was your
Isn't wind like the spell to take for the most part?
for the most part. Yeah, this is a very wind heavy kind of game.
I don't know. Like, I couldn't get into the story. I couldn't get into the combat.
It's a pretty basic story. Brian is looking for his father, who went off on his own quest.
Not gonna lie, I kind of forgot about that.
Went off on his own quest and he didn't come back. And as you get through, you find out that your father is looking for something called the L-Tail Book, hence L-Tail Monsters. And Brian makes the very juvenile, immature leap of logic that, hey, if I find the book first, Dad'll find me. Crickets.
No, I was just listening to the sirens. I'm wondering if that's another room or is the cops actually outside.
No, it's actually the
You know,
cops
and
from
for-
outside.
And yeah, the game is short. The game is considered to be very easy, if a little grindy.
How long would you estimate the game to be? Since I haven't really played past the first couple towns.
I haven't played it as an adult, but back when my sister and I were playing it regularly, we could beat it in about a week. And that was just playing after school. Yeah. It does get a little grinding parts. They made it, this released in North America first, then Japan later. And for the Japanese release, they tightened up some of the grindy stuff and put in extra events and content, making it a bit longer.
Sounds like I would have liked the Japanese one a little bit better.
Probably. So that is a thing.
As I recall, I don't think this game got really good ratings stateside, at least.
Stateside, it gets like 50%, 54, 3 stars out of 5.
I remember playing.
It's a very middle of the road, mediocre game. That doesn't
Also,
mean
look
it's
what
not
else
fun.
was on the market at the time.
Right.
This was what year? 1990.
98.
In '98, so it literally just came at the tail end
FF7.
of FF6, FF7, Parasite Eve, all those.
Brave Fencer Musashi.
Well, Musashi's a platform.
Yeah, I know, but it's still got RPG elements.
But like
I don't
those
know.
guys, I mean, yeah, I know. I say Final
Tactics.
Fantasy VI, but like
FF Tactics.
I feel like those were
Suikoden 1 and 2.
Yep. However, it spawned 2 sequels
I've never played
on
that.
the Game Boy Color.
Oh,
Okay, that explains why.
Quest Brian's Journey, which is a pseudo-sequel, pseudo-retelling. And then something called Quest Fantasy Challenge, which was just described as a puzzle game. Like puzzle maze game.
Those were really popular in Japan.
I think my problem is this: for the longest time I was against RPGs because when I was real young,
Did you just not have the time?
when I was really young, I
Attention span?
got a copy of Dragon Warrior.
Oh, okay, if that's your intro, yeah.
So hold on, and I remember playing, and I wasn't a fan of the whole "I hit you, you hit me, I don't see my character." I also got to play the original Final Fantasy, and I wasn't a fan of the turn-based stuff. And I'm like, all RPGs are bad as a little kid. And then I met one of my buddies, and he's like, Final Fantasy is the best thing since sliced bread, so to speak. And he let me play Final Fantasy 2, which is actually Final Fantasy 4, and he kind of explained things to me, and I was kind of terrible at it. But I liked it, and then I got good at RPGs, and I'm like, oh, RPGs are fantastic. What have I been missing out on? And it was a lot of stuff. So when I heard Quest 64, I'm like, oh, I gotta try this. It's a new RPG or whatnot. And it's Quest freaking 64. Like, oh my!
It is an RPG by definition.
It's not a good one.
It's mediocre, middle of the road. It doesn't mean it's not.
I don't
fun.
play mediocre, middle of the road RPGs.
I do, and then I disown them. Like
Cartia.
I played Cartia. Let's see, Vandal Hearts was actually really good. I still have my copy of it. Back in the day, I did not like Wild Arms 1.
Oh, I love Wild Arms.
In retrospect, I know. Like, let's see, what was thinking?
Grandia?
No, it wasn't Grandia. I wanted that for Christmas. Instead, I got the Guardian Legend.
I love
the Guardian
Grandia.
Story. Guardian Legend was an NES game. I got the Guardian Story, and that game sucked balls.
Okay, real quick. This is a super aside because we're getting into other RPGs and stuff like
Grandia
that.
is awesome.
Grandia is awesome. Grandia was one of my
three.
very first, my own personal RPGs that wasn't a Final Fantasy that I really, really liked. And
Suikoden.
I did this thing as I did back in the day, is I managed to get farther in the game because I used some weird ass strategy and whatnot. And I was so underleveled. I got to the end of Grandia and couldn't beat it because I was underleveled. I couldn't go back to the shops, towns, or whatnot to buy items and whatnot. So I pretty much screwed myself over. However, there is a Dex Drive save for Grandia on the internet somewhere. That's my save. That's a low level play. I'm like, please beat this.
I have a save for Final Fantasy VII, saved on a memory card, where I'm at the Materia Keeper. And he kills me in one shot with Trine because I am level 15.
I did something very similar to that. You know how I did it? Enemy skill, and then I used it on him, and that worked.
Nope, because I'm at that save point where I can't go back, and the dragons will actually kill me in 2 moves. I just lucked out on my entire way through Nibelheim. I didn't run into any encounters. So I got to that save point, and I dead.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you something. The stories that we're talking about with these other RPGs, you don't get that with Quest. I'm sorry.
Because, why are you getting into a random encounter?
To level your magic.
Or I could be
There's
doing
other
Guardian
stuff.
or Grandia.
If you take the time to talk to the NPCs, there's other stuff to it, and the monsters are out of control because of the big final boss and all of the stuff with the L-Tail book, and there is a story in there. You just got to get apparently further than either of you got to get to it.
Yeah, I didn't get to hit things with a sword, so my interest immediately plateaued.
I don't. The music wasn't catchy. That's another thing too.
It's pretty.
It is pretty, but it's not catchy. No. Like when it's not even a castle. You're in an abbey at the start, aren't you?
You begin in the abbey.
It has that very abbey feel, and
the Spirit Tamers are a monastic order, which
I
makes
like
me
that.
wonder how on earth does Brian have, or Brian's father, like.
No.
Like, he's supposed to be like the master of the order, though.
Well, remember that wasn't added until certain monastic orders until way later on, and then very
Primogeniture. And,
yeah.
But like even when you like leave the
Now we're
abbey,
getting the history that we know about.
when you leave the abbey and you're walking down that big hill and kind of going towards that first town, the music there is memorable, and then that's it. I cannot
fitting.
remember anything else. I can't even remember the title music to this.
It's fitting. It's very pretty.
Whereas a game that came out at the exact same time frame, I can remember Hyrule Fields theme.
Oh yeah, and that's another thing.
That came out the year before.
Yeah, but still.
But yeah, and like the battle system does sound kind of similar to Parasite Eve with the ring and everything,
Yeah.
dodging the attacks, and that is a far superior game with a one character thing.
It came out about the same time, but just for a different console.
Different system, different console, yeah.
I wonder
Like-
if Tyler ever did beat that battle finally. We got stuck on the final boss.
You have to ask.
But like for the 64's first RPG sort of thing, I
first
feel
official RPG.
it failed. I feel it failed really.
I think
really
the next
hard.
one was Tactics Ogre.
I think
Person
it,
of
I
Worldly
think it
Caliber.
succeeded very well in one aspect. For the time, for what the N64 could do, it's a very pretty game. Not just in terms of all the colors like you were talking about, but how smooth the polygons are and how the
That's true. It does.
And it
looks
proved beyond a doubt that graphics don't make a game.
right. Graphics don't make a game. Gameplay makes the game, and this failed in my book for that. But
Too
not
easy for him to.
But not for Trav, and that's okay. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion.
Also, the other reason that might also be why I was turned off of this game, when this game came out, I was playing Baldur's Gate 2. I was playing 2nd edition D&D. So, my brain is on, I am calculating so much math on how to get through this alive.
and I just told Trav earlier that I have issues with
I
Baldur's
feel
Gate
like we
2.
have another episode coming on here.
That's because you just hate Shadow Renicus. There's a mod for that.
I do hate that. The art bothers me a little bit. Combat bothers me. Like I've really.
Oh, trust me, you haven't gotten to the follower mods, trust me. Oh,
But-
the fanfic is horrible.
But honestly, part of the reason I bought this here is because Trav actually said
I like it. I
to
enjoy it.
to give it a go, and I'm like, I will. And the thing is, I will give it a go. I very often say I hate games, and then I just won't play them forever, and then I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna give it a fair shot, and I'll play it.
He's like,
Remember
did
why I hate
this?
it?
Yeah.
And it's like, why did I actually hate this? And it's like, okay, my hate was justified, or this is actually not as bad as I thought it was. Case in point, Final Fantasy 13. I'm still going through that. I haven't touched it in a while, but I've been writing notes down.
Is that
And
the one with the schoolgirls?
no, it's Final Fantasy 10-2. Final Fantasy 13 is corridors and cutscenes.
Lightning, the female cloud game that no one asked for.
But when I do eventually finish that, I will completely form my opinion on it. And I'm gonna say, like, it wasn't as bad as I initially made out the play to be, but it's got a ton of flaws. And,
Auto Battle, the game.
and I feel with Quest that maybe I will enjoy it more. Playing it actually older and giving it that fair shot. And if not, it's still an experience, and I'll take that with me.
I'm inclined to say that older and more experienced, he's probably going to like it less. It's very much a game that's geared towards people who aren't experienced RPG players. And when this had come out, my experience with RPGs was Final Fantasy 1. So,
Welcome to Corneria.
I like swords.
Welcome to Corneria.
see your face upon the water. How dirty. Come, wash your face. So, this was an introductory step for me, which is probably why I look back on it so fondly. If I were to play it back or now as an adult, I'd probably be like, this is a steaming pile of garbage. But as a kid who hadn't been exposed to this, format of telling a story and playing a game before, it worked very well.
And that's the thing that I think a lot of us do too, is like we put the nostalgia glasses on, and sometimes a bad game is a bad game is a bad game, but there are certain bad games
Beetlejuice.
that I love
Fester's Quest.
Oh, yeah.
because of it.
Yeah.
And
But then there's also games that they were good when they came out, but they have aged horrible.
and it's true.
Breath
and
of
that's-
Fire 1.
And that's true, and that's mostly because the technology, like the TVs and stuff, they just don't look as good.
I was
And-
even thinking
and,
like
like, you
cartridge
play-
limitations.
Well, yeah, but like then you go from like a Breath of Fire 1 to a Breath of Fire, say 3 or whatnot. It's like they did all this, and then you're looking back and it's like, why couldn't they do it here? Was it technical limitations? Was it they just didn't think of it? There's a lot of factors into that.
Yep.
But I guess it's going to come down to this now. Like, what do you think about Quest 64? Do you love it? Do you
Are
hate
you
it?
one of like the 6 people that have actually played this game?
Do you have any fond memories of it? Do you think it's a steaming pile of dog shit? Do you hate Interact because they made you use their stupid ass memory
At
card?
least it's not Mad Cats.
I say that Interact performance is far worse than Mad Catz, and I think maybe we'll do an episode on third-party peripherals.
Oh, yeah.
How many
there's-
controllers have I broken?
There's a lot to say that. But,
You know what we need to do an episode on? Glove ball.
oh, no.
What we have to do is actually go and take a camera with, go down, and ask our GameStop attendants which ones they would suggest out of third party.
That's true. That is very true. So let us know in the comments below what you think about Quest. And if you have any suggestions...
And not the tribe called Quest.
Oh, God, Greg.
Jeez.
And if you have any suggestions for shitty games for us to review,
please do.
Well, we actually don't review. We just have a discussion about them.
Well, I'll play the damn
A
game.
review would be giving this a number. I would give this a 1.5. I mean, there's my review.
I'd say 3 out of 5 spoonies.
It's a spoonie.
And I would go and give this a score of 23 out of 4,321.
Anyways.
Just because that's how he rolls.
Come, have a conversation. Like, let us know what we should talk about next.
Yeah.
Share your stories, and we'll see you later.
Good night and good gaming.